Hello, in this video, today I will read the column of Mr. Faisal Bari, and the title is Not Much in Education. So, this is about the education in Pakistan, and this is published in the Dawn newspaper on the 1st May 2021. So, let's go to this and let's read and let's try to understand what the writer is trying to say about the education system in Pakistan. And the PTI government will be completing its third year in about 3 months. Election talk may start by the end of next year unless the opposition has its way. With 2 years to go and large policy initiatives taking a long time to come into effect, we can safely assume that government is likely to go into next election with the results of the policy initiatives it has introduced since it came to power in 2018. Economic performance will be important. The government will would be hoping and working for the stability of the economy and some movement towards growth. If there is output and export growth and sufficient job creation, and if the economy appears more robust, the government will have a lot to celebrate. This is probably the most crucial aspect of PTI's performance as it moves forward. The changes in the finance team, looking for the right combination for delivering on its goal, should be seen in this perspective. Given the weak fundamentals of our economy, recovery is unlikely to be large or very robust. But as we move away from the impact of COVID 19, some recovery will take place. If the finance team can boost the economy, the PTI might be able to go into election season with something to celebrate. On the human development and social welfare side, it is not likely that the government will come up with large new initiatives now. It will be hoping that the Sehat Sahulat program in the health sector, in bracket health insurance, the various initiatives under the Ehsas initiative, and some delivery on housing projects will carry the day for them. Large scale welfare programs take a long time to think through, implement, scale up, and deliver on. Given that the government only has a maximum of 2 years left, it is not likely that any new large initiatives can or will be taken. The PTI government came in making a lot of promises about the human development in general and education in particular. The Prime Minister often says that education is a top priority, but 3 years into its tenure, the PTI government does not have much to celebrate. In the provinces where the PTI is in power, though no major new initiatives have been undertaken in education to address issues such as out of school children and the poor quality of education, or even equity and inequality. At the federal level, the major initiative has been the drive for a single national curriculum (SNC) at the school level. At the higher education level, there is even less to look at. Higher education funding has been cut over the last 3 years. Most recently, the government introduced very contested and the controversial changes in the governance structure of the Higher Education Commission (HEC) through a presidential ordinance which has been challenged in court. Even if the government's proposed changes go through, it is unlikely that we will give it anything to showcase over the next 2 years or so. The single national curriculum (SNC) was introduced ostensibly to reduce inequality in the education system and to move towards equality of opportunity for all children. However, the objectives of SNC are quite large and it is unlikely we will see any impact of the policy in 2 years, even if it is implemented effectively from the coming academic year. But there are many issues with the SNC itself that will challenge its efficacy and effective implementation. Given education was made a provincial subject through the 18th Amendment to the Constitution, the introduction of the SNC is being seen as a clawback by the federal government and has been contested in some provinces on this count. So far, Sindh has not agreed to introduce the SNC. This takes away the national aspect. A number of significant criticisms have been made and continue to be made against the initiative. The Minority Commission has argued that the SNC has introduced religious content in non religious subjects as well. This issue has been raised in the Supreme Court and is being looked at. Others have argued that the increase of religious content through Islamiyat is also of concern as it overburdens students and encourages rote learning. Some critics have argued that SNC discourages the use of local languages in the provision of education and encourages the use of Urdu or English. Others have argued that forcing schools to use a single curriculum without looking at household school based differences will not only make the essence ineffective, it can also turn it into a policy that ends up decreasing educational diversity and forcing schools at the top to reduce quality rather than allowing those lower down to improve. The implementation challenges, as they are being faced by schools in Punjab right now, also show that fears expressed are not unfounded. On the higher education side, the government moved injudiciously and hastily to remove the HEC chairperson through an ordinance. It will end up hurting the HEC's autonomy and institutional integrity. Even if the government succeeds in doing all that it wants and installs a new chairperson of its choice, the new head will have only a couple of years to deliver results in an area where rapid change is not really possible. So, even in the best case scenario, there will be nothing to take to the public by the time the next general election comes round. The major wins, if any, will have to come from the economic performance, growth, income, and employment numbers. There seems to be awareness of this in the government. On the human development and social welfare side, existing initiatives in health, housing, and SARS will have to provide the main wins. Though the PTI had promised to give high priority to access, quality, and equity in education, the sad part is that it does not seem the government will have anything to show in the area of education in time for the 2023 polls. So the writer is a senior research fellow at the Institute of Development and Economic Alternatives. So and at LUMS. So after reading this article, my point of view is uh, that the writer is trying to create a picture that for the 2023 elections, if there is some positive factor, if there are some showcase items for the government, that can be a SARS program, health card, but not the education. Writer is not happy. In fact, in my opinion, the this was not the right way to remove the HEC chairperson. So to the presidential ordinance. So in writer's opinion, this is affecting and hurting the autonomy and integrity of the Higher Education Commission. Writer and in my opinion, writer is right to say that government of PTI, when it came into power, made huge promises for education but did very less, and the work which they did also have really major issues. For example, if you talk about single national curriculum, there are many issues. There are issues related to religious content in general subjects and too much religious content in uh, Islamiyat, and there is the issue of local languages like Sindhi, Balochi, and there is the issue of class. For example, if you make a single curriculum, then there is a possibility that it is good for the schools which are lower than this level to uh, increase their level. But on the other side of the picture, if the schools are providing even better quality education than this NCR, then they have to reduce their level of reduce the quality of education which they are providing. So in a way, it is a very challenging policy to implement. So I agree with that, and same thing has been communicated in this. The other issue is the 18th amendment and the impact it has on the implementation of single national curriculum. It is possibility, and in fact there are many statements from the Sindh government that they do not agree on the implementation of SNC. So kind of national aspect is not there still. So the bigger picture in the education that this government can maximum present is this SNC, and in fact is in this SNC single national curriculum there are many issues. So writer is convinced that in the terms of education this government has very less to showcase. So if this government has to go into election and boast about many things, then education is not one of them. It can boast about the construction business, it can boast about possible return of the stock market, possible return of economy after the COVID, but not education. So let me know what do you think about this and what is your opinion after listening to this article. And if you want to share your opinion, you can share in the comment box, and like my video and subscribe to my YouTube channel.